Hey, what's going on? I'm Kantis Simmons. Now, listen, if you are a parent, if you are a student, and you're not applying for scholarships, let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you that you are leaving a lot of money on the table. All right, it's almost like, remember when we had Thanksgiving and, you may have some leftovers. Well, guess what? Scholarships are the same way, right? They're just leftover money and people, students, and parents are not applying. And before you say, well, Kantis, all the excuses that come with that. Kantis will never win a scholarship, or Kantis, we don't know where to start, or Kantis, we're not the favorite in the classroom. Well, I want you to know that only 8 to 12% of students actually apply for scholarships. Okay. And so in this video, what I want to do, I want to take the time to let you know that you can get scholarships for having average grades. You can get scholarships for having some type of weird hobby. You can get a scholarship for being, a first generation student, or leadership or volunteer activities. And even if you don't think your kid has an opportunity to get a scholarship, I want to share some things with you that I believe is going to help you identify and take some action on getting scholarships. I realize that today there are millions of dollars of funds that are out there, whether it's Pell Grant funds, whether it's need-based, merit-based aid. It's millions and millions of dollars unused. Why? Because families do not apply. All right. They don't apply the strategies, and they're normally waiting for somebody else to handle it. So what I want to do today, I want to take some time to break down, the 7.25 real reasons students and parents keep skipping over merit-based scholarships. Okay. So I'm going to give you some things. We have need-based scholarships, and we've talked about that before. Need-based scholarship is when you're applying for the federal government money and applying for FAFSA and doing all the things there. But merit-based scholarship, right? When you have need-based scholarship, hey, the only thing you want to do is to show that you have need for the money, right? And then not only that, you want to show that, you put everything out there and allow the federal government to let you know what resources are available. But when we talk about merit-based aid, that's something that a lot of students and parents look over, and it's actually costing you thousands of dollars of free tuition, thousands of dollars of free books, thousands of dollars of free opportunities. Okay. So I want to share these 7.25 reasons that people don't apply. All right. Now, on this coming Saturday, I'm hosting something called Scholarship Success Saturday. All right. This is where I carve out some time. It's a workshop where I have students and families on this coming Saturday, where we're going to dive into getting college money. All right. We're going to dive into the 3-step equation, GM plus OM plus YM. Okay. In that 3-step equation, we'll talk all about how to maximize your federal aid. We'll go in a deep dive to talk about how to find scholarships, how to locate scholarships, how to land scholarships, how to apply for scholarships so that you stand out. And we'll also talk about some things that you can do to prevent student loan traps and student loan debt. Okay, so if you or somebody will be interested in joining me on this coming Saturday, hey, go over to scholarshipsuccesslive.com, scholarshipsuccesslive.com, or there's probably a link somewhere around this video where you can actually go ahead and register for that. Okay, so let's talk about why students and parents don't apply. Now, actually, before I do that, the other day I was talking to my dad, and my dad and I ran across a picture where my dad and I had went to the University of Georgia and the Georgia Tech football game. That's a big rivalry here that we have in Georgia, right? And so I wore my Georgia Tech gear. My dad wore his University of Georgia gear. And we both went to grad school, right? I went to Georgia Tech. He went to University of Georgia. And we were having a conversation. I was like, yo, Dad, so tell me, I know you got in the University of Georgia on a graduate school scholarship. And tell me what happened when you went to Albany State. Okay, so my dad went to HBCU, Albany State. I actually went to Norfolk State, another HBCU for undergrad. So he went to Albany State. He was like, He was like, well, your grandmother, she saved up some money and she wrote a check for the first year there at Albany State University. But then going into the second year, he shared that I think he had like an asthma attack or something. He had an asthma attack going into his second year. I think might have had an asthma attack the summer going into the second year. And that put him, I think he had to go to the clinic. I don't think he went to the hospital, but some kind of way, word got around that because of his asthma, that there were scholarships out there because he had asthma. So now because of this asthma, I think it was like some kind of health disability scholarship. And so my dad took advantage of that and had his 4 years that were the next 3 years at Albany State absolutely free, paid on scholarship. Right now, why do I say that? Right, I say that because what I'm going to because I know there's so many scholarships out there and places to look and different things out there. You can get scholarships for so many different areas. You know, your academics, your activities, your aspirations, your accomplishments, and even the things that you say you want to do in the future. You know, like based on what I know now. Now, I also went through undergrad all on scholarships. And based on what I know now that I didn't know back then, and I never really applied it, but guess what? Because of my really cool birth defect, guess what? I could have got a scholarship for my really cool birth defect. Now I'm thinking about going back and completing a PhD. Guess what? I could, get that paid in full. All right. But why don't students and parents take advantage of this free money that's out there? All right. So let me give you these 7.25 reasons. 7.25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.25. I give some love to my nub. All right. And let me know if this is good for you. Let me know that this is good. Okay. Let me know that this is good. But not only let me know that this is good, I want you to type, I'm going to apply. All right. Because I realize that there's a lot of information out here, but people fail to see results because they do not apply. And I want to be able to give you that right now. Okay. So the number one reason, one of the reasons students and parents don't apply, number one, we don't think we will win. Okay. We don't think we will win. Number one, I'm going to just write it here to keep up with these. Number one, right? We don't think we will win. All right. Now, where does that come from? Right? Where does that thought process come from? Right? You may say, well, my kid isn't a valedictorian, or my kid isn't a salutatorian, or students. Sometimes you may feel like, well, there are other students in my class that are smarter than me. Like I've never been the smartest child. Right? But a lot of times because of that mindset, you get stuck believing that we don't think we will win. So now we take the time to not even apply for scholarships. Okay. Here's the reality. Only 8 out of 12, right? Out of 12% of students even apply for scholarships. So you're thinking to yourself that, hey, I don't think we will win. And the reality is, it's not as competitive as you think it is. Okay. I know every single year I have organizations that send me scholarships. I believe it was like last year I had a company had 27 technical scholarships that they wanted to give away. They said, Kantis, we need to give this away to somebody because people aren't applying. So what I do, I have a scholarship Rolodex. I give it to the people and the families that I work with and I mentor. Okay. So merit scholarships, when we think about this word merit scholarships, what I want you to understand is that merit scholarships reward your skills, reward you for leadership, reward you for service, reward you for your hobbies, reward you for character, and not just perfect grades. Okay. So if you've ever had the thought process to say, hey, we don't think we will win, guess what? I want you to kill that excuse. Okay. All right. Here's number two. The second reason that students and parents don't apply is because of overwhelm, right? Overwhelm. Simply meaning we don't know where to start. All right. We don't know where to start. All right. Now, I remember back when I was in high school, coming out of high school, there at in Decatur, Southwest DeKalb High School. And I knew I wanted to go to college. I wasn't really sure if my mom and dad had laid up money to go to college, and I didn't know where to start. But one of the beautiful things about it is that when you stretch out your neck, right, in expectation, I believe the entire world, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it brings about answers, right? And as I stretched out my neck in expectation, I started hearing from my coaches and my band director and my counselors, and different people would pop up, right? And so if you don't know where to start, this is why I'm doing videos like this. This is why I host my Scholarship Success Saturday, because I realize that the process, it can be overwhelming, all right? The process is overwhelming. And if you don't know where to start, guess what? It's going to feel big. It's going to feel confusing. Now, here's the actual truth, right? There are local scholarships, there are departmental scholarships, there are institutional scholarships, there's scholarships from the college, there are scholarships from corporate, there are scholarships in the community, different places to find scholarships. But guess what? The way you want to fix all of this is by having a framework, right? Is by having a framework. So if you ever said, hey, Kantis, I don't know where to start, guess what? There's a framework, there's a roadmap. There's a way that you can apply for, you have to apply for government's money, apply for other people's money, and look at how much money you have, and shopping for a college the same way you shop for a house, or shopping for a college the same way you shop for a car. At the end of the day, you have to start. And if you don't know where to start, hey, find a guide, find somebody that can help you do that. Okay. Now, if I can be the person to help you do that, hey, I would love to help you do that. Okay. That's the second reason. The third reason that most students and families don't apply for college scholarships, let me turn this back to black, is because of procrastination and senioritis. Procrastination and senioritis. Okay. Now listen, I know how you feel, all right? For all of my seniors out there, for all of my parents of high school seniors, listen, we've been trying to get little Johnny, Ray, Bonquisha, Sarah to this place, right? And I realized that all the different emotions are going on, and you have the finals, you have the events, you got prom, you got homecoming, you got graduation, and all the different things. And actually, when it's time to graduate high school, we're actually commencing to college. And because they overlap, I understand students will say, hey, I'll do it later after they study for that test. Or I'll do it later after I finish this exam. Or I'll do it later after I, finish preparing for homecoming. But here's what we do know. When you say, I'll do it later, later never comes, right? And so the truth is this, the scholarship season starts before your senior year is over, okay? So even though you may be experiencing procrastination, even though you may be experiencing senioritis, that's not a reason to not go apply for college scholarships, okay? All right? So one of the things that I recommend scholarship date nights. Right? Scholarship nights. This is where, how we do like Netflix and chill, right? We do scholarships and chill. We get mom and dad on the iPad, on the tablet, on the computer, and doing all the things so that we can now, during this scholarship time, you can call it scholarship hour, right? It's the same time every week where mom, dad, son, daughter get together, and we put the time and energy into scholarships, into looking for money for school, all right? I say it all the time. If you don't have money for college, your number one job should be looking for money for college. Okay? Look now, or guess what? You're going to have to look later when you have to pay things back in the form of student loans. Okay? So the third reason is because of procrastination and senioritis. All right? Here's the fourth reason. All right? Here's the fourth reason. Parents think that merit only means good grades. Okay? Only means a high GPA or good grades. So you say, you know what? Because when I hear merit, I believe it's only to give it to those who have a 4.0. Okay? But the reality is that you can get a scholarship in so many different areas, right? I got academic scholarship. I received a band scholarship because I participated in the band. I received baseball scholarships. I received scholarships for serving in my church. I even received a scholarship from Delta Sigma Theta. All right. I even received a scholarship from the AKAs. I had some AKAs last week told me I could do the little thing. Like I can do that because the AKAs, I don't think they're AKAs. I think they got like a ski or something, right? And so they told me I could say it, right? Because when I applied for scholarships from those sororities, they never said that I had to be a female, right? I'm all male, all young man, but they gave me a scholarship because of leadership, okay? And so the truth is, whether you have average grades, whether you have C grades, whether you have creative talents, whether you're the first person in your family to look for scholarship, whether it's volunteer work, whether it's major, when we look at merit, it's not just based on grades, okay? It's not just based on grades. So if you feel like, hey, your son or daughter, their GPA is not high enough, that's not an excuse to not apply for merit-based scholarships. Okay. So number one is, well, we don't think we're going to win the scholarships. That's not a reason to not apply. Number two, hey, we're overwhelmed and we don't know where to start. Number three, procrastination, senioritis. Number four, merit, right? Merit, where you feel like merit only means high GPA. Okay. Now, here's number five. The fifth reason that students and parents don't apply is because students hate writing essays. Listen, I get it and I understand, right? Right? It's like when you receive a college application or a scholarship application and somebody say, hey, tell us about yourself. Most time people freeze up, right? Most time people freeze up. Like I hate having to go reintroduce myself all the time. Have to reintroduce myself because I know who I am. Why don't you know who I am? But guess what? The truth is scholarships applications must be completed, right? I know you may be writing essays in class for your schoolwork and writing essays for applying for college admissions. And then you have essays where it comes to scholarships. So guess what? If you understand how to write scholarships, then if you understand the framework, if you understand the templates, guess what? You can now write scholarships better. Okay, there's a framework, there's a template. I think we got like 17 different winning essay templates, right? And because we know the formula and I teach the formula, hey, writing essays become a breeze, right? But that shouldn't be a reason why you don't apply for merit-based scholarships. You see, if you think about it, right? If we think about it, on average, it's about $50,000 on average, right? Got some below, some high, about $49,000, $50,000 to go to college for 1 year. Okay. So if you or your son or your daughter, let's say they spend 4 years in college or 5 years in college, that's almost $200,000 for college education. right? And if you don't do the work now, are you going to write a check for the $200,000? Are you going to pull $200,000 out your savings? Are you going to take out a loan for $200,000? If there's an avenue to be able to take care of it with free money, why don't you? Okay, so don't allow I hate writing essays to be the reason why you don't apply for scholarships. Okay. Number six. The sixth reason that parents and students don't apply, because simply you underestimate. All right. You underestimate how much money is available. All right. You think that, hey, there aren't many scholarships out there anymore. That's what you may think. But the reality is this: there are millions of dollars of unused funds. Okay. Regardless of what you may hear on CNN, or regardless of what you may hear on the news, or regardless of what you may hear from mom and them or counselor them or whatever, there are millions of dollars out there, and it's unused dollars, right? There's so many organizations. I had a guy the other day, Mr. Tripp. What's up, Mr. Tripp? Stopped me at church. He was like, Kantis, we have this big music scholarship. And I think the music scholarship might have been like $5,000 or $10,000 that they give to students in music. And he said, man, we just can't get anybody to apply for this free money. All right? Because people don't apply. But you can't underestimate to think that there is no money out there when there are millions of dollars out there. So the sixth reason why students and parents don't apply is because you believe and you underestimate that money's not out there. Okay? Let me give you the seventh reason. The seventh reason that students don't apply is because they lack a strategy. Okay? They lack a strategy. Okay, number 7. You lack strategy. Now you say to yourself, wow, I got to come up with $50,000 a year. Yeah, somebody does, right? Now here's the funny thing. In most families, and I understand it, parents, in most families, you don't take the time to, we don't talk a lot about money in the household, right? We don't talk about money a lot within the household. I remember my mom and dad, they didn't, they told me I was a kid and I was a teenager, right? We never really talked about the mortgage. We never talked about car insurance. We never talked about investments or savings. We never talked about the light bill. We never talked about that, right? Now we talked about, I don't even think I had an allowance. I had to work for money. If you got an allowance, let me know. But I think I had to work for money. Right? I think I had my chores. I had to do the things I had to do in school. I had to do the things I did with my different organizations. But we never really talked about money. And a lot of times parents are having $40 and $50 conversations, right? Money to go to the movies, or money to go to the football game, or money to go to prom, or money, to get your hair done. So if anything, we're having from $50 conversations to $500 conversations as teens. But then all of a sudden, when we get to this senior year, and I've heard it so many times, parents will say, well, my kids they're not involved. They're not applying for scholarships. Well, guess what? They've never had the responsibility to come up with $50,000, because as parents, you've always done it. You know what I mean? Like, you've always put the money forth. We've had conversations about $50 and $500. But when it's now to talk about $50,000, your kid isn't inspired to go look for scholarships, right? So this scholarship thing, it is a family affair. And one of the reasons that parents don't apply is because they lack a scholarship strategy, okay? Whether it's a large amount of money, whether it's a small amount of money, whether it's $1,000 scholarship, whether it's a $10,000 scholarship, whether it's a $25,000 scholarship or a $2,500 scholarship, there's a strategy that goes along with getting the money. And it's a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game. So you know, based on when you're watching this video, based on when it's time to go to college. Hey, okay, how many scholarships are you applying per week? Applying for per week? How many scholarships are you applying for per month? How many scholarships are you applying for per year? Right? You just can't apply for one scholarship and think you're gonna get one scholarship, right? There's a strategy behind it. And the beautiful thing is that when you apply more, you position yourself to win more. All right. Like, I will never probably win the lottery. I think the lottery was really big a few weeks ago. I know I didn't win the lottery. Why? Because I didn't apply. Right. I have some friends who live in Alabama. Right. They would come across the line. People in Alabama come across the state line to apply for the lottery in Georgia. Now, guess what? Because they apply, they have the potential to win the lottery money. And the same thing is true with scholarships. If you don't apply, you don't win. If you apply and have the scholarship strategy and you know how to batch locating scholarships and applying for scholarships, you position yourself and you develop momentum to be able to get that money. Okay? Here's the last one. Here's the 7.25th reason for why students and parents don't apply. Is because a lot of students feel like mama and daddy will just pay for it. Yeah. Right? Students assume mom and daddy will pay for it. Just like I mentioned before, mom and daddy paid for this hair. Mom and daddy gave me some money for prom. Mom and daddy gave me an allowance. And now what happens is that when we start looking at scholarships over time, just like the students just assume, right? And the truth is, nobody in the household is driving the ship. Now, one of the things that I've seen some students who are very aggressive about finding money for college. And then they have a lackadaisical parent. And then I've seen parents who are, gung-ho about applying for scholarships, and then the student is lackadaisical. Or I've seen situations where you have a mom and a dad and they live in separate homes, and the mom is like, hey, who should go on the FAFSA? Who should go? Like, I'm doing this as a mama, but the daddy not doing this, or the daddy is working and the mama's not doing this. At the end of the day, somebody has to drive the ship. Scholarship success is a family team sport. All right. Everybody has to play a role. Everybody has to play a role. And so regardless of where you are, regardless of what's been going on, regardless of how busy you are, it's so important. Mom, dad, son, daughter, hey, let's pull this thing together. I even recommend people to have their scholarship 5. The scholarship 5, right? You have your teachers and your counselors and your mentors and people on your team where we all together can be accountable to make sure we apply for scholarships, or to make sure we locate scholarships, to make sure we apply. We make sure that we submit the essays, we get things reviewed, we get things approved and get things submitted. Okay? So it's not a one person job. Okay. The idea is that everybody has to play a role. All right. Everybody has to play a role. And if I can help you do that, hey, I would love to help you do that. All right. So let me give you these 7.25 reasons. And I don't want these to be your excuse. And if they are your excuse, we have to do something about it. Number one, if you've ever said, hey, we don't think we will win, hey, that's not an excuse. Number two, if you feel overwhelmed, don't know where to start, hey, we got to start. Number three, hey, you procrastinated because of senior year, or you procrastinated saving money or thinking about this. Guess what? Forgive yourself. Start now. Number four, you may think that merit only means high GPAs. It does not. Number five, you don't apply because you hate writing essays. Number six, you underestimate that money's out there. Number seven, you lack a scholarship strategy. And number 7.25, 25th, is that, hey, you just think mom and daddy is going to apply. I mean, a mom and dad is just going to pay for it. And I even say mom and daddy are going to be the ones to do all the work. All right. Somebody has to drive a ship. Now, if I can help you be able to drive this ship, I would love to invite you to participate with my upcoming Scholarship Success Live. It starts on this coming Saturday based on when you're watching this video. All right. If you go to scholarshipsuccesslive.com or click the link somewhere around here, you'll see the time and date of that. And yeah, if you see one coming up live, jump on it, right? Spend time looking for the money. Now, the reason I'm so passionate about this, I have 3 college degrees all on scholarship. I got a BS degree in chemistry, got a Master of Science degree in textile and fiber engineering, and then I got another master's degree in polymer science and engineering. And at the end of the day, I know how powerful it has been for my mom and dad to be able to not have to come out of pocket to be able to pay my college tuition bill. Okay. And so I want that to be your reality. So that is my way to serving people and to serving families by making sure you have the money to get the degree, to position yourself for a better job, for a career, so that when we look up 5 to 10 years from now, you graduate from college, you can graduate debt-free, and you don't have to start your new career trying to pay back a college degree that you got 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. All right. So listen, I'm Kantis Simmons, the coolest guy with 7.25 fingers. And remember this, there's only one game in life that counts, and that's your A game. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and by the way, join me for Scholarship Success Saturday. All right. Bye-bye.